There's a lot that you might see on the news, on YouTube, on social media. And a lot of this is by design meant to keep you trapped. A lot of this is by design meant to keep you in a mental prison. A lot of this is by design meant to keep you stuck and not understand your true power, understand who you truly are, and understand that you are very valuable assets to this entire universe. Humans have an extremely valuable place on this planet. And the whole way society has been set up is to shelter us from this understanding, to keep us blind from this understanding that we are divine creatures and we are one of the most powerful beings in existence, not just on Earth, but in existence, in the whole universe. Humans are truly one of the most divine creatures that exists in this entire universe. And it has been by design to keep this hidden from you, to keep this in the dark, to make you believe that you're just an inanimate object, a meat suit, and everything is just random, everything is just probability. And there's no actual mystical element to how everything works, to how your mind works, to how your body works, to how really anything works. Everything is just a random set of probabilities. And that's just it. You get the luck of the draw. Some people are lucky, some people aren't. Some people end up in a bad situation, other people end up in a really good situation. You don't really have much control over it. You're just a little human, and you can't really do anything about it, because what are you? You're just this body, and that's all you are. You're just this body and all these set of cells and neurons and blood and bones, and that's all you are. You don't really have anything beyond that. That's what they want you to believe. But this is nothing less than a big fat lie. You are much more than this, and you have the ability to actually change your life. You have the ability to change anything you please in your life. And when I say anything, I mean pretty much anything. But you have to understand that you are being attacked 24/7. You're being attacked so that you don't realize this. You're being attacked so that you always end up in a negative situation, in a powerless situation, in a situation that you can't really get out of. So no matter how much positive thinking you are doing, no matter how much you try to manifest the life that you want, you're never going to get out of it if you don't understand that you're being attacked. You're being attacked every single day from almost every single angle you can imagine. And it might be overwhelming to think about every angle that you're being attacked. But everything is trying to make you believe that you're not a divine being and that you don't have any control and that everything is just random. But it's actually quite the opposite. You are an extremely divine being. Nothing is random, and you are in total control. I know you might not want to hear this because you might find yourself in situations where it feels like there's literally nothing you can do to get out of it. You might find yourself in situations where you don't think you have a say. You don't even know how you got in this situation. It just seemed to happen randomly, just bad luck, just bad fortune. And this is just the lot that you have to take. It's just the hand you were dealt. And there's nothing you can really do about it. But this is all part of the programming. This is all part of how the system was designed. Now you're probably watching videos online. You're probably watching some sort of content, some sort of media, whether it's on your phone, on your computer, on a TV, whatever it may be. Even just books. Even books will program you in a certain way. Almost everything that has been created from the system is designed to program you to believe in this mentality and this belief system, because that's all it is. It is just a belief system. There's no proof, there's no scientific proof that everything is random. There's no scientific proof that you are not a divine being. And there's no scientific proof that you have no power and you are powerless and everything is just a matter of luck and being unlucky. There's no actual scientific proof of any of this. It's all just a belief system that was designed to keep you stuck and keep you in this rut. Now, the way to get out of this belief system is actually through first having awareness of it. First, you need awareness that this is what this system is designed to do. But then you need to understand that what your mind does, what your body does, is extremely powerful. So you need to take care of this mind and this body to the utmost, because it will decide your life. The state your body is in will decide what happens to you. The state your mind is in will decide what happens to you. So when you're in a negative state, in a negative emotional state, when you're thinking negative thoughts, when you're thinking addictive thoughts or fearful thoughts or shameful thoughts or prideful thoughts or any of these types of thoughts, and you have the accompanied emotion with those thoughts, what happens is, how this universe works is it actually creates those things in your real life. And many yogis, many Buddhists, many traditions around the world, many mystics, many shamans have understood this, but it's kind of lost information in the modern world, because the modern world was designed for slavery. The modern world was designed for mass populations to undertake somewhat of a slavery role, and have a few ruling class that could rule over the masses, and not have the masses really understand who they are. Because once you really understand who you are, you're not really going to want to be a slave anymore. And it's not good for the system. So not many people will actually come to this understanding, because the system isn't designed for people to become aware of who they are. But if you are one of the select few, you can actually start to understand who you are, what this mind, what this body actually is. This mind and this body is actually an intermediary between heaven and earth. You are in between heaven and earth as this mind and this body. Therefore, you have a connection to the divine, and you have a connection to the mundane. You are in between the divine and the mundane. Everything comes through you. The mundane goes through you into the divine, and the divine goes through you into the mundane. So what does this mean? This is above as below, below as above. This is you probably heard of these things already, but you really have to understand that this is actually how the universe works. These aren't just sayings. These aren't just feel-good type of sayings. These are actually how these things work. This is actually how things are manifested into the physical form, and this is also how things are manifested into the physical form. You have to understand that there is really no difference between the physical and the spiritual. They're all one. They are just at different frequencies. The physical is more dense, the spiritual is less dense, but it's all made of the same stuff. It's all the same thing. Therefore, the more dense creates the less dense, and the less dense creates the more dense. So what does this all mean? What does this all mean? How does this actually apply to you, me, all of us as an individual? When we are viewing content, when we are looking at content that is negative, that is destructive, that is fearful, that is prideful, that is hateful, that is lustful, that is all these things, what's actually happening is we are feeding these things, because we create reality. We as humans are connected to the mundane, and we are connected to the spiritual. So when we focus on the mental plane of all these negative emotions, all these negative images, all of these things, we are actually manifesting a life and a collective life, a collective society of these things. The more that we watch all of this destructive content, the more that we watch all of this stuff, the more we are actually creating it in the world. So you are actually doing harm to the world by watching the news. You are actually doing harm to your own life by watching the news. One of the best things a person can do for their own life, but also for the whole world, is to stop watching the news, stop watching negative stuff similar to the news, stop watching lustful content, stop watching the sites, because what this is doing is also feeding the physical world. Because you have to understand, humans are the intermediary between the spiritual and the physical. And if you understand your role as a human, you will never want to watch this stuff again, because you understand you will be an active participant in creating these things. You are an active participant in creating the negativity you see in the world when you focus on it. You have to continuously focus your mind, focus your emotions on things that you actually want to manifest in the reality that you want to see. So although these things are happening, although all this negativity is happening in the world, it does the world and it does you no good to focus on these things. And our brain is designed to focus on negativity. So it's counterintuitive to not look at these things, because our brain is designed to latch on, to look for threats. So it will be actually difficult to not do this. It will be difficult to not look at the danger in this world, because your brain is literally not designed to avoid these things. But society has hijacked our brain. In a natural setting, it's very rare that such negative things happen. It's only in very, very rare situations where you truly need to be aware of a threat. But I lived in nature myself for many years, and there's almost no threats on a day-to-day basis. Maybe little tiny threats that you see here and there. But in general, nature is pretty peaceful. Regardless of what you see on the Nature Channel, nature is pretty peaceful, and there's not all these immediate threats all the time like we see on the news. Our brains have been hijacked to create more negativity, because negativity drives this system and it drives those in power. And if you want to take control of your life, you have to stop focusing on the negativity and start focusing on the positivity, the positive emotions, and the positive mental images that you want to see in your life. That's literally the only way to change not only your life, but the entire world.